if you're planning a solar and or battery system in 2026, there's 5 mistakes that are very commonly made, but they're very easy to avoid if you know how. G'day everyone, Dan and Matt here from GI Energy again. Today we're talking about solar and battery in 2026, 5 of the most common mistakes that we're already seeing and how they're completely avoidable if you know what you're doing. So number 1 is the incorrect sizing of not only the inverter, which we talk about all the time because it's so crucial and it's so often missed, but also the size of the system on the roof, the panels, and the overall kilowatt hours in the battery. So I'll let you take it away there. Start off with the inverter, I guess.
Well, the inverter is the one we normally talk about, and for good reason, because the inverter is the bottleneck that will allow power to go in and out, charge and discharge the battery.
Yeah.
So what we've seen, I guess, through 2025 with the launch of the subsidy is loads and loads of social media ads, huge batteries in terms of kilowatt hour capacity, with very little or next to no information about the inverter size there. So when we've had other people come in to obviously, you know what I mean, say, look, I've been provided this option, how's it going to work, what's it going to do? You could have a 50 kilowatt hour battery with a 5 kilowatt inverter. So it would take 10 hours to fully charge and discharge from completely empty to full and back to empty, which realistically just isn't going to happen in a solar day, or even during the night, depending on how you use power. So if you can get that inverter sizing correct first, depending on if it's single or 3-phase, your load profile, your thoughts of a VPP, lots of other things there, it's really going to make the difference in how that system operates from day 1 to year 10, year 15, because that's the only way that power goes in and out. Regardless if you've got 5 kilowatt hours or 50 kilowatt hours of storage, that's getting that power in and out. And again, panels on the roof. So that's the real key there. But as you said, panel array size, battery capacity, kilowatt hour size is still really important as well. So that needs to be designed and needs to have a consultation about your power usage, what, how and when that power is used, and obviously future plans as well. And also with the subsidy for the battery is different to the panels. It's only available for the first installation. And what we found in 2025 was that a lot of people would install a 24, 25 kilowatt hour battery and then think, oh, I just want that little bit more. They start using more aircon, more heating in winter, whatever it is, just that little bit extra just really annoys people.
Yeah.
It might only be 2 or 3 kilowatt hours, but obviously to add that extra module later, there's no subsidy on the hardware cost, but you've also got the installation as well. So you might need 2 guys there for an hour or 2 to do it, obviously on a day where a new installation can be performed. So it would generally cost a little bit more than I think what most would expect to do that work, because you've got to recommission the system as well. So there's a fair bit going on there. So speak to someone that knows what they're doing. We've been doing this for 15 years and there's a lot of other great people doing it as well, but really get that information. If you're looking on social media or Google ads, you'll probably be bombarded with a different side of the industry to where we operate, and it really needs a bit of due diligence there and understanding.
I think the frustrating thing for us is, as you said, the social media ads and all the cheap stuff basically since the rebate was released is it's just one size fits all.
Yeah.
So here's the biggest battery. That's how you grab people's attention with an advert.
Of course.
Biggest battery, cheapest price, great, loads of leads.
Yeah.
And then it is that one size fits all, and there's no consultation there. And then when you speak to somebody and you explain things properly, that's when their eyes are opened. But oftentimes people just take what they're being told for 100% by the first person they speak to, and then it's too late by the time it's installed. So yeah. I think what you said spot on, just make sure you're doing your due diligence. Outside of the sizing, the next sort of biggest mistake is the incorrect either design and or install with the retrofit situation. So if you've already got panels on the roof and an inverter in your garage or whatever it is, and now you're adding a battery, so much can go wrong there.
Yeah, it can, and I'd probably say half, if not more, of the installation that we've completed on the subsidy and the inquiries we receive are clients that already have solar. Variation on age, equipment, quality of install, whole host of different things, and each one needs to be treated as individually as they are, because no installation is the same. And I've never noticed that more than doing this over the time of the subsidy being around, because before that, most people had a 5 kilowatt inverter, 6.6 of panels. They just wanted another 6.6, or with a battery or something like that. And obviously there's different areas with different network providers that have certain limitations and rules in place. But it really just comes down to understanding what you have installed, the age of the system, how it's performing, what it's doing for you in terms of your bill, and then looking at what you want to achieve with the additional battery and or solar going in there, because a lot of the time there could be a great system in place, but there could be, going back to that inverter sizing, there could be a 5 kilowatt inverter. It's a single phase property that may only be allowed to have 10 kilowatts of inverter capacity combined in certain areas. So the only option is add a 5 kilowatt inverter or remove the old 5 to put a 10 in to allow that bottleneck to not be in place in the same way. So we really need to understand what's there, how that works in terms of backup during a grid outage, additional panels, that there's so many variables there, and you could probably make the video an hour long talking about it, which I don't want to do, but it just needs to be designed and installed by someone that really understands what you have, because like a lot of existing clients of ours might have a 1 or 2 year old system where it makes sense to take the inverter off, and it's not the best conversation when you've spent good money on a great product, but it just means that the new system that's going to be there with the requirements that are to be achieved, it's a more seamless option and it's going to work better. And I guess the flip side as well to that conversation is what we're seeing with a lot of those retrofit systems is a lot of them have to be brought up to standard.
Yes. If
you're going to install a battery, because then it may most likely have a new inverter, because most of them do. The system might be 5 years old with rooftop isolators. They need to come off for disconnection points to meet new standards if you're signing that system off, and to warrant the system. Separately with RCBOs, you might have older circuit breakers, RCDs, even older fuses in there. Safely to have battery backup, they need to be Type A RCBOs.
Yes.
So we've done a separate video about that that's quite concise, we hope anyway. More so to raise the bar in the industry, because most people aren't doing it.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's probably going to be a big problem. So really need to source out, and you can figure out pretty quickly if someone knows what they're talking about there, and if they've got your best interest at heart, rather than say, here's a 50 kilowatt hour battery on a 5 kilowatt inverter, just bang that alongside your existing system. Who knows what happens there? Rather than take that time to design it correctly. Again, might cost a touch more to do it right, but then that system's there for 10 plus years, which is what you want to achieve.
Definitely. I'll give a really quick example and then we'll move on to the next one, because I think this one ticks quite a few of those boxes. I spoke to a guy yesterday. He'd already received a quote from someone for quite a large battery, and it was quite cheap. So he was told, he asked, does it have backup power? Yes was the answer. There was no questions about what does he need to back up or anything. And it's going to wipe out his bill, allegedly, is what he was told. So he had 6.6 kilowatts of panels on the roof and an existing 5 kilowatt single phase inverter. Quite a common system that we're going to come across and that we do see all the time. So the issues began with when I looked through his bills. So we went through 12 months of bills, and he was only exporting about 6 kilowatt hours a day. So not much going back in. He had no idea about the charge and discharge. So this company was going to AC couple a new 5 kilowatt inverter, meaning he would only have 5 kilowatts of charge and discharge. So backing up his whole house obviously wasn't going to happen. So firstly, the panels probably weren't producing enough, or definitely weren't exporting enough to fill up even a small battery. And then, so putting in a big battery with a small inverter made no sense. The panels were, I think, 13 years old. So obviously going in and then removing the existing inverter, then you've got to bring things up to standard. It had all sorts of stuff that he didn't know about. So he thought he was going to get a brand new system for really cheap that was going to wipe out his bill. Really what was going to happen there is he was going to end up with a really big battery that was almost useless because there was no energy going back into it. And that's the other thing was, he was told, well, if it doesn't charge from the panels, you just join a VPP. But he wasn't told that his existing inverter is not compatible with that VPP because it's really old. So you're not going to have full functionality of that VPP. And again, the battery is going to be potentially useless, but also he's not going to be able to curtail his export, so he might get charged for feeding into the grid if that ever happens. It was one thing after another. And I've tried to keep that quick, and there were some other things he missed, but
That's more than probably, yeah.
there was more. And then so what we're going to do for him is we're going to actually, well, he has a couple of options there, but essentially he's going to get a system that ticks all his boxes. He's going to pay a little bit more for it, but it's been designed correctly. And I will move on to the next point there is choosing the wrong equipment is what a lot of people are doing, which probably segues into that.
Yeah.
We've already spoken a little bit about backup power. Panels is something that gets missed.
Yeah.
A lot of people are doing whatever panel because they're not asking the question, but it's an integral part of the system.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've done a couple of videos on panels, and speaking to panel people that work there, they want you to talk about them because people are forgetting about it, because everything's just what battery is it?
Yeah.
Not what inverter or what panel or anything else. It's just what's the battery. And I guess that's an ideal example there of that custom. If I was speaking to somebody like that, they need a lot more panels if they want to fill that battery from solar energy. But second to that is the backup side. If there's a grid outage, you can't rely on the VPP to fill the battery. So if you want the system to still generate power during an outage, and that might not be very frequent, but it can happen, if it's done correctly, designed correctly, with an additional array there, you're more likely to fill the battery up, and obviously then get yourself through that time period. Another part of that is obviously the equipment being installed in the right area, which I guess comes back to the design as well. So if you've got north, east, west, whatever the roof space is, increasing the system size potentially, having more on the west if you use a lot of aircon in the afternoon, and getting the panels on that side. That's where people I think are forgetting about it. A lot of systems over the years were installed north, and for good reason, because over the year there's obviously greater output on that side, more efficiency. But now it's more about trying to you know what I mean, figure out where we use most power, and for a lot of people it's that morning and evening window.
Yeah.
Get a bit of power generated there, you preserve your battery for those other times. And if you've got an outage, there's more power coming in. So it's really important to have the right equipment, the right number of panels, to give yourself the best opportunity of keeping that system in place for a long, long time.
Definitely. And the correct brand as well, you know, depending on your budget and what you're after in terms of your expectations. Make sure you're asking those questions about the battery, inverter, and panels. The fourth point that we see get wrong is choosing the wrong installer. Again, we're solar installers, but we're not saying you have to use us. There's lots of good installers out there. We don't service everywhere, so we're not sort of using this as a sales pitch. There's plenty of people watching this video that we couldn't install if we wanted to.
Yeah.
But when we say choose the right installer and don't choose the wrong one, it's not come to GI Energy, it's make sure you do your due diligence properly, because there's been a huge flood of people over the years jump onto the solar bandwagon since the panel STC, so the panel rebate, and now more recently the battery rebate. Unfortunately, the focus has been cost. So most people are just innovating through cost cutting. How can we make things cheaper? Okay, great, we can advertise a price lower than our competitor. Let's put that on our ad, and then let's find a way to install it for as cheaply as possible. So making sure you're choosing the correct installer is a huge thing to do.
I think if there's any takeaway from the video and from a lot of the videos we've done, that's the information I personally really want to get out there, because there's some amazing installers across the country. I know a lot of different people in different areas that take great pride and care in their work, but unfortunately the vast majority seem to be on the other end of the scale. And people, I know I went to see a friend of a friend last week that had a system installed by quite a notorious company that had been around in the industry, and it hasn't worked for 8 months. He didn't know, and by the look of it, barely had ever worked for a couple of years. Lots of phone calls, lots of emails, no response, nothing else, and it's sort of like back to square one. You only get one go with the battery subsidy. You want to know that installer is going to look after you for a long time, and I would say a lot of the time that the guys on the phone that spend a lot more time on the phone than I do, and other people in the office, it's servicing people and helping them understand the system, helping them with their monitoring, with the right retailer, stuff like that. That's the service that we want to provide and that we do provide. And yeah, if there's any takeaway from the video, it is just look at the company, look at the reviews, and not necessarily all the nice glossy 5-star reviews. Look at the negative reviews, because that'll probably paint a true picture and the response that company is given to those reviews, because everyone's going to get a few of them. You can't make everybody happy, but there should be a common trend there. And across multiple sites as well. So it's not just one site where you can control that a little bit better. And yeah, look at the ABM, as you said before, time in business, any changes there, because if you've got the right people, those other bits and pieces will fall into place, because if it's the right installer, they'll supply the right equipment, they'll do the right design and the right consultation and size it correctly. So the other thing is take care of themselves, really.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about choosing the right company and finding someone you can trust. That which leads us on to our last point, which ties into all of this. So number 5 on those was going too cheap. And this is something that can sometimes appear a bit of a cliche. A solar installer telling you to spend more money, but it's very frustrating to me to see how many systems go wrong. You gave an example a minute ago. We see that every day, and sometimes multiple times a day, where people have installed something that just doesn't work. I said before, the industry is really cost focused, and it is, and that's not a good thing. Here in Australia, we've got fantastic rebates, we've got fantastic climate, we've basically got the perfect situation to install a very cost effective, correctly priced solar and battery system that's going to stand the test of time and give you an astonishing return on investment compared to almost anywhere else in the world. But yet what's happened is that cost basis has just been drilled down so heavily by companies over the years, sales organizations over the years, that so often people just buy too cheap and they don't need to. So it is a bit of a cliche point, but it's a big mistake people make, is just seeing the price and using that. And it's not even the price of the products, because you can have good products installed badly and it can still be done very cheap.
Yeah.
So it ties back in with what you said about the company, but you just do it right and do it once and don't have to come back and pay again.
Yeah, I think I don't really, nothing else to add there. I think that's pretty spot on.
Well, it ties in with anything you were saying,
Yeah.
I think, before anyway. So I think that probably wraps it up quite well. As always, we're going to put a downloadable resource into the description of this video. It's a battery guide. We'll talk you through lots of the things we've spoken about here and much more. It seems to be quite well received. So if you'd like to click on that, it's totally free. And if you do want a proposal doing, please get in touch. We'd be happy to help. If not, hopefully you've got something from this video, and thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.